Good evening and welcome to episode 80. As always, we will start with our gratitude attitude. So, if you would please gently close your eyes. Take a deep breath. As you exhale, relax your body. Take another deep breath. As you exhale, feel the tension in your muscles melting away. Take one more deep breath. This time, completely let yourself go. Now, think of one thing you're thankful for that happened in the past week. Once you identified that, think about why you're thankful. And now let's set it free. If you're by yourself, say it out loud what you are thankful for and why. If you are with someone, tell it to each other. So, over the past 7 weeks, we discussed karma and how it affects us all. During that discussion, a number of you asked that even if we stop creating negative karma, how do we deal with the negative karma we have already created in the past? So I thought this was such an important point that today we want to discuss how to purify our past negative karma. Now, when we talk about our past negative karma, we are not only talking about this lifetime, but all of our previous lives. By that standard, we created enormous amount of negative karma. The first step in the preparation of purification is that when we are experiencing consequences of our negative karma, in whatever form that may be, right? We should realize that these consequences are due to our past negative karma. And we need to do whatever it takes to purify past negative karma so we do not end up in these situations again and again. So here's from the book Universal Compassion by Geshe Kelsang, and I'm going to quote: strong purification made every day over a long period of time will completely purify even the heaviest negative karma. Less powerful purification will slightly reduce our negativities. And a small amount of purification will prevent the power of negative karma from increasing. Point is that any amount of effort we make in this process is helpful. So there are 4 so-called opponent powers that help us purify negative karma. One is what's called power of regret. 2, power of reliance. 3, power of opponent form. And 4, the power of promise. So we're going to look at each one of these individually. The first is power of regret. If we understand the dangers of suffering created by negative actions, we'll develop sincere regret for having committed these actions. So if we contemplate that we have created enormous amount of negative karma over our lifetimes, and we will eventually have to pay for it, suffer the consequences of that. By contemplating that way, we'll develop remorse for our past negative actions. And if our remorse is sincere, we'll be determined to prevent future negative karma. This remorse is what is known as power of regret. The more regret we generate, the more powerful our purification will be. Next is the power of reliance. Most of the objects of our negative actions are other living beings. But at the same time, we created negative actions against object of refuge. What is an object of refuge? It's any higher authority we may believe in. In Sanskrit, they say Sharanam Mama, right? I surrender to you, I go to refuge to you. So who are we surrender to? Sometimes we talk down the object of refuge or ridicule these objects, right? To remove these kind of negative actions or purify this negative karma created by this, we need to develop a reliance on the object of refuge. Meaning, we need to surrender. Sharanam Mamaha. Whatever that may mean to us, right? Whoever that we go to refuge to. This will allow us to generate compassion towards all living beings. And that in turn will purify our negative karma. The next is what's known as power of opponent force. So when we have remorse for a specific negative action, right? We apply opponent to that negative action, kind of an antidote, if you will. It helps us purify our negative karma. So what is the opponent force? It's actually any virtuous action you perform to purify a specific negative action. Anything, anything you do good, as long as intention is to purify your previous negative action, it works. It's like paying a fine for a traffic violation, if you have. The next and final power is the power of promise. And this is very important. In this phase, we are promising not to repeat past negative actions. Without this promise, none of the other powers we talked about really work as well. This one power, if applied effectively and regularly, helps us purify our negative karma. There are types of negative karma we can give up and promise never to commit again. And there may be some that we are not ready to give up, but we can promise not to commit for a period of time or to a certain group of living beings. And we talked about this before, right? That if you're a fisherman, it's understandable not to promise to kill all living beings. But you can start with every living being except fish. And then later expand that to no killing fish for one day or a weekend or so forth. So after learning all the consequence of our negative karma, I think it's only appropriate for us to begin to apply these opponent powers so we can start purifying our negative karma. Now I had a tough time. I still have a tough time as to, proactively using these 4 powers, if you will. So I had a chat with my teacher, and she had an interesting point. She said, it's tough to remember all these things. Sometimes I get it, but why not, allow half an hour a week, if you will, just dedicated time where you can go through all 4 of your powers, right? Power of regret, power of refuge, power of opponent force, and power of promise for a specific negative karma. That way, if you put it on a calendar 30 minutes a week, hopefully, you'll be able to do that. Then you can expand from that after that. So I thought that was good advice. So hope this helps, and you can begin your purification practice in some small way, right? Nothing big. So in today's meditation, we'll begin with settling down at our hearts as always. Once we are settled, let's contemplate the effects of negative karma. How negative karma will bring future suffering. Once we contemplate that, let's make a determination to apply opponent powers to purify our negative karma, including power of regret, power of refuge, power of opponent force, and power of promise. We can take one of our negative karma and cycle through all 4 powers for a particular karma we may have created. Something small, right? We don't have that much time. But then we hold that determination single pointedly as long as we can. If we lose our determination, we go back to contemplation and bring the determination back. So that's the idea. If you are ready, let's begin. Get into your meditation posture, cross-seated position. If you are in a chair, just keep your legs straight. Make sure his back is straight, spine upright, shoulders leveled. Gently close your eyes. Keep your mouth just a little bit open. So any tension you may have accumulated, will dissipate. Put your palms in your lap, right or left, thumbs gently touching each other. Take a deep breath. As you exhale, see all your stress melt away. Take another deep breath. As you exhale, let your body loose. Bring your attention to the sensation of your breath at your nostrils. Feel the cool air as you breathe in. Feel slightly warmer air as you breathe out. Bring your attention at your heart. Imagine everything that happened before this moment melts into light and disappears. Things that have not yet happened are not real anyway. That is just this moment. Enjoy the peaceful nature of this moment. Let this peaceful moment bring the next peaceful moment. Remember, there is nothing to do. Nowhere to go. Just enjoy. Now, let's contemplate. Over countless lifetimes, we have created enormous amount of negative karma. We know each one of them is going to bring consequences. That's a frightening prospect. So we must purify our negative karma. Pick any one of the negative karma you would like to purify. Develop remorse for committing that action. Now go to refuge. Sharanam Mamaha. Now apply power of opponent force. Commit one good deed or promise to commit one good deed in the next day or so to purify that negative karma. And now promise not to commit that action, either moving forward forever or for a specified period of time. When you're ready, Gently open your eyes. Go ahead, Prema.
So, quick question. I had not realized that your profession can bring negative karma as well. So, when you talked about fishermen and fishes,
Yes, it can.
um, yeah, but then immediately I talked about contract cleaning is also a profession. So, um,
Well, here's the thing, right? I mean, that's why they say that try to choose a profession which doesn't, put you in that situation as much as possible, right?
yeah,
Because, soldier is a perfect example, right? A soldier goes and just takes an order,
yeah,
but still they take a life, right? And both sides on a war think that they're on the right side of history, right?
hmm,
Otherwise, there won't be a war. If they thought they're doing war for the sake of war, there won't be a war, right?
right,
So that's why people say, well, we are doing good for our country, this that, but the other guy also is doing good for his country,
yeah,
right? So that's why they say, try not to get into that. And more important than soldier is people who are higher up. So, for example, let's say you have 20 people who work for you, right? And you ask them to do something which is wrong. You're
yeah,
not doing it yourself, but you're asking them to do something. Now, 20
mhm,
of those people do that wrong thing.
mhm,
You get bad karma of all 20 people because you are the one who's directing them to
yeah,
do that. They only get once, you get 20 times,
right, yeah,
right? Like call center is a perfect example, right? There are some very shady companies who run call centers for whatever reason, right? To take advantage of people.
hmm,
And there are 1,000 people, but who's running it, right? He gets
yeah,
1,000 times negative karma.
yeah, yeah,
So,
mhm, yeah, got it. Yeah, soldier was a great example, but yeah, that makes sense.
I know you were very much interested, Premal, in this negative purification process.
Yeah,
So I would strongly encourage you to, just take 30 minutes. That's it, right?
hmm,
See if that, you can continue with that.
yeah,
Uh, and not every day, right? Just once a week or once a month, even doesn't matter.
hmm, yeah,
So,
yeah. That's very helpful. Yeah, I definitely want to uh, work on that. Again, it's right. It's not like you knowingly do negative karma, but like you said, there's so much you've done that you don't know about, and that's the point.
exactly right. And things like, especially in my case, right? I can think back 20 years and say, man, I shouldn't have done that, right? Uh, or whatever that case may be. So I know, so I can purify that process, if you will,
Hmm,
right? So
yeah,
work on things which you done, which is wrong, right?
yeah,
And that makes it easier than looking at abstract.
yeah. Hmm.
So,
Makes a lot of sense.
good. Anything else?
Nope, that was it.
I'm going to stop recording.